And welcome to the Smoking Syndicate Roundtable number 10. Tonight, we are going to be smoking the Cuba Aliados by Ernesto Perez-Carrillo Jr. I am Bear Duplessis alongside my good friends here on the Smoking Syndicate, Mr. Ben Lee, Aaron Nielsen, and Will Cooper. Tonight, as I said, we are smoking the Cuba Aliados by Ernesto Perez-Carrillo Jr. The Torpedo size, there are several Vitolas in this particular line, and this is not the only Cuba Aliados from Oliva Cigar Company, but we'll get to all that and more for the roundtable number 10. As always, we will be telling you our thoughts and opinions about the smoking experience throughout the cigar experience, from unwrapping the cellophane all the way to the first light to the final puff, and we'll be giving you some ratings at the very end. And of course, you may not like our opinion, but we sincerely don't care, but we hope you find some entertainment in it anyway. So without further ado, let's go ahead and kick things off for the Cuba Aliados by Ernesto Perez-Carrillo Jr. Ben, how are you doing, sir?
Doing great.
Have you caught your breath yet? You good? Your heartbeat calmed down?
Yeah, all good, man. No bears tonight. But yeah, I'm glad we're able to check this one out, because like Cooper and I said, this is a line that was kind of special to us back in the day. It was when we smoked, so it's good to see a resurgence of it.
Totally. And you know, if folks don't know, Oliva acquired these brands back in 2021 from Rolando Reyes' family. They have re-imaged these, and as Bear mentioned, there's two of these cigars that are out there. There is the one that we're smoking tonight, the Cuba Aliados by Ernesto Perez-Carrillo, which is a limited edition line. And then there is a regular production line called the Cuba Aliados Original Blend, which is being done by Julio R. So, you know, and I've been, let me just say, I've been kind of twisting the needle with a lot of people on this one. There was not a lot of coverage at the Oliva booths, right? Which I shouldn't be needling people. I should be like thankful, because we had a great interview, I think, with the Oliva folks when they told the story about this brand and why they decided to go with Ernesto, and I thought it was a really good visit we have there. So I shouldn't really be grinding the needle. I should be like, wow, we actually had some good info. And this line was something that was very anticipated from me personally, as Ben said. So it was something I was really, really looking forward to. So we're going to do it tonight.
I'm super excited to do this. And this was actually, we've been asking for this for a while. This was a suggestion from our audience. So Mr. Jay Davis suggested that we do the cigar, and that's actually where we procured these cigars from.
Yep.
That's actually where Coop procured the cigars from. So thank you to our good friend Mr. Will Cooper for taking the time and also purchasing these from the Blue Smoke of Dallas. So if you are ever in Dallas, check out Jay's shop. It's a fantastic place, and his selection's pretty phenomenal. Ben and I try not to go broke whenever we visit. That's a general rule that we try to make, but you know, sometimes we make out better than we, you know, but we come out with some good cigars.
Yeah, no, we do. And I'm actually committing to go to Texas in September this year. So next year, so I will be finally getting to visit Blue Smoke if I don't.
I was like, it's December, Coop.
September was a couple months ago. I have to actually plan a lot of this out, believe it or not. But I did tell them, the Cala folks, I will go to their open house this year. I committed to go to that verbally, and I'm going to honor that commitment, because you know, I've been wanting to go. So I'm going to go this year.
Well, good.
And I'll see you, Bear, of course. So
yeah.
Well, I would hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like 20 minutes from the McAuliffe headquarters.
Yep.
So I might not get welcome back to the party, but at least, you know, I'll be nearby. So.
Well, Alan will welcome back.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
So Ben, do you want to get into the specs of the cigar?
Okay. I thought actually Coop had them.
I have it. Yep, I have it. I'm all set to go with that. So Cuba Aliados, made by Ernesto Perez-Carrillo. Aliados is kind of alliances, and that's kind of some of the roots of this blend with Rolando Reyes. They worked with other people, and I believe he said Ernesto was involved with this at one point, like years ago, right? At the interview.
Correct. Yeah. In some way, shape, or form. Probably at that point in his career was probably sourcing the tobacco.
Yeah, it was when Ernesto was based in Miami. So that's why they went with Ernesto. It's being made at Tabacalera, Outlaw Alianza in the Dominican Republic. And when you look at this blend on paper, okay, this has all the makings of like Ernesto Perez-Carrillo's, like this is kind of his signature when you look at this. Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper. You have a Nicaraguan binder and Nicaraguan and Dominican fillers. And that has been a formula that's worked for Ernesto for a long time. This is a 6x54 Torpedo, which is also available in the Julio R line as well. So these cigars are not cheap, is what I'm going to tell you guys. They are in the $12 to $15 range. So, you know, but limited edition, I don't know. It wasn't clear if this is going to be an ongoing limited or one and done.
So 15,000 boxes of 20 cigars. So 300 of each Vitola. So it's 300,000 total cigars.
Yeah.
1475 MSRP.
Yep. So we're in that 14. Yeah, like I said, it was pretty close to that. So and the other thing, I'll look at this cigar. This is a darker Sumatra wrapper. If you notice, compared to a lot of other Sumatras, this just had a much darker look to me when I was looking at this. Now, I think we should also say, while we went with the Torpedo, this has gotten a high rating from another publication, print publication. So a lot of people think this may be on the Cigar Aficionado, which is a publication, top 25, which is going to be unveiled a week from this show. So we'll see. So a lot of people are there's a lot going on in this cigar right now. But like I said, to me, when I looked at this on paper prior to the show, I'm like, this is it. This is the deal for me, because I love Ernesto's Sumatra blends with that Nicaraguan and Dominican combos he works with.
Like you said, it's kind of like his signature. You know, I mean, that was the Cardinal series had Sumatra. He had an inch that was Sumatran, and it's this use of Ecuadorian Sumatran. So it's not authentic Sumatran, if you will, but it is you know, it's definitely what we would call, like you said, Ernesto's signature.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you about the foot band, Coop.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll get this. I think Ben doesn't want to get this after I'm done talking about it. What is this? What does the foot band remind you of? Another Ernesto collaboration project.
So I'm going to show the foot band. I don't know if people can see it. Is that showing?
Yep.
This looks like, you know, it's sticking out to me what this looks like, and I can't put my finger on it.
I gave you a big hint.
Collaboration.
Yes. Actually, I gave you two big hints then.
Big collaboration. Big collaboration.
Ben, do you want to guess?
I can't think of what it could be either.
Well, like I said, Ben wouldn't want to talk about it, but it has very similar earmarks to the Ernesto collaboration with Royal Agio.
Good call. Yeah.
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 You're right.
It does.
Yeah.
That should have gave it away to me. Yeah.
Well, I was going to guess, but you know what? At the end of the day, I'm like the forgotten redheaded stepchild over here, so that's fine. You know what? I had it.
God damn it, Aaron! Don't make me.
I know. You know what?
You had it written down. Let me see it.
Yeah, but that's fine. No, you can't see my paper. You can't see my paper. Well,
that invisible ink works well.
Yeah. Right. All right. It's fine. You know what? Good to see you guys. A quick comment on kind of piggybacking off of what Coop had to say in terms of the rating and leading into the top 25. You know, a lot of times when we have these shows, I come in from an angle differently than you guys do, as far as I'll call myself more of the novice, right? I'm not my knowledge is not always as deep as your guys. So a lot of times when I talk to my friends and just people that are the casual cigar smokers, they often go to the top 25 and they say, okay, I got to go try this. To be transparent, when I saw the kind of the ratings that were coming out of this, it definitely piqued my interest. And on
Absolutely.
top of Jay kind of making a great recommendation that, hey, you guys should do this for the roundtable. Here we are. I'm excited to be with you guys again tonight and see what you guys all think about it, because, you know, for the viewers out there, we don't talk to each other about what we think about this cigar at all prior to us reviewing it for the show. So I'm really interested to see what everybody's take is once we get into it.
Well, we look at that fucking footband. Damn
Yeah,
right,
that was a good catch. Yeah.
dude. Nailed it.
Yep.
Yeah, even with the little like circle emblem too.
Yep.
Like secondary
Double
band.
ring, sir. Yeah. Yeah. We should also mention that there's a cigar that just got released. That Ernesto, so this is an Oliva cigar being done at Ernesto's factory. Ernesto has actually released a cigar on the EPC that's being done at Oliva's factory called the Allegiance. And I just got a couple of those in the mail today. I ordered some of them. I did not order a box.
Now, can I, going back to that Balmoral, am I wrong in that the blue one was like Loomis's cigar of the year, like 3 years ago or 4 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
yeah, it
Paso
was.
Doble.
He
Yeah.
really liked that cigar. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he he did. And then I bought a box band and I basically gifted it to my neighbors after I smoked
He
two of them.
hated it.
So I'm still pissed about that. So I remind him about that every time.
You didn't like it?
Not really. No.
I was
didn't.
disappointed. I gotta be honest, the Lido cigar, I was disappointed with that Lido cigar. I really was.
Wow. Okay.
It did not do it for me. Yeah.
Now, granted, I agree. And here's the other problem. Anytime Loomis goes back and says something's good or you got to try it, everything's average to him. So if he's liking something, I'm immediately thinking, okay, this is going to be great. So maybe my expectations going into the cigar were a little too high. But I can tell you, after I smoked it 3 or 4 times, like I don't get it. It wasn't dog rocket, but it definitely did not live up to the expectations and the Loomis good rating that he took from it.
That's crazy. Because when he says he likes something, I mean, I can't think of a time I didn't like something.
El Talo was probably the one we disagreed on. That was that.
But
cigar
that
they did
wa-
with the-
But
that was the one
what
with the
did-
stems. Yeah, that was the short filler with the stems, though.
What did he give that cigar though?
He gave it top 25.
Trilogy.
That trilogy's good though.
It depends which trilogy. Yeah,
It was the Corojo. It was the.
I didn't like the
good.
Maduro, but the other two were good.
Yeah, the Maduro was my least favorite for sure.
Yeah.
But
By the way, this yeah, I mean, I think. By the way, if you want a spoiler, but we're not gonna spoil it. DP did review this cigar actually today. So, but they reviewed the Robusto. We're reviewing the Torpedo.
Yeah, we're reviewing the right Vitola.
Yeah, I mean, but I do think we. Bear and I have the fly. I don't want to speak for everyone, but I know we tend to be very Vitola based, and we've had experiences be different. I don't want to speak for Ben and Aaron, but that's how we've had experiences. So,
Well, and I'll tell you this, Coop, and I give you guys credit. I never used to be Vitola based. I was primarily a Toro guy until I got to know you guys and said, try this cigar in this size, try this. And I would highly recommend those, anybody listening that doesn't do that, highly recommend finding the right Vitola in a cigar because it makes a huge difference in a lot of cigars.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
You
my
went
primary
over
service
the
announcement.
blend of this, right? Did you? talk
Yes.
about okay.
yes.
So are we ready to go ahead and get into this thing?
Yeah.
Uh,
Do it.
Are we cutting it?
No, let's.
Yeah.
We could cut it, but
Oh,
let's
well,
talk
look at it
about
first. Let's look at it first. Yeah.
the appearance.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so can I go first?
Yeah, please.
Mine's Aaron might have said he's the ugly stepchild, but I nominate this cigar for the ugliest one in this room, man. It is, and here I say this with a great deal of respect. Some ugly cigars, smoke really good. It doesn't have to be the cleanest looking thing in the world to be fantastic in my book, but I mean, there are veins popping all over this place. There's I guess from when this was in the box too, like the cap is pressed in and stuff, so it's not even uniform on the cap.
I have a little bit of that too.
I think it did too. And
It's,
I've got a couple. I got a couple of these, courtesy of Mr. Coop, and all three of them have like a ginormous vein or veins on the wrapper.
Yeah, this one looks like
Yeah.
a topographical map of the Andes, man. Like it's
Yeah, I got
like
one.
it's crazy. There,
But
I mean,
the-
it's
But the wrapper itself, if you kind of, I mean, if I twist mine, it's a nice Sumatra.
Yeah, I like the
that
sheen on
darker-
it. There-
Yeah,
yeah,
I do
there's
like
a-
the
there's
sheen
nice
on it.
sheen.
Yeah,
yeah, but
See, mine's totally different. Like, let's see if you can see mine. Look, mine looks like it's perfect. Look, the cap's great.
yours
It's
does.
got a like a model wrapper, so it looks kind of like aged leather or something.
right.
But
So
other than
we
that,
get
it looks really good.
Ben is Coop's favorite. We just found out, guys. There
Well,
we go.
Of course, that was that like up for
But
discussion?
that's a given.
Oh, the oh the I do like the banding they did on this too. I think they did a really nice job on the banding. Now it looks like the duetto at the bottom, but but it's still different. But I do think they made these like the old bands were never a favorite of mine. The Cuba Aliados bands.
Not
I think
at
they
all.
definitely upgraded the bands on this thing.
Oh
So,
yeah, they make
I
they gave it
agree.
some regalness. Yeah, it's
I-
regal
yeah.
now.
But what I do like about the band Coop is that I mean, it's a much nicer band. Like we said, the original Cuba Aliados bands were just basic, right?
very basic, yeah.
But these are nice, beautiful upgrades to that band, but still keeping the original look of that band, the old
Yeah,
band.
I-
So it's
yes.
a throwback as well.
I think they did a really, really good job on the packaging with these cigars. The presentation was very nice with them. And these are more expensive than the old Cuba Aliados, so they better have better bands on it.
Oh, they're way more, way
Like
more.
my biggest complaint about Saka's Unicorn, right, is he's got that ribbon on the thing. Like everything he went all out for, even the coffin, but he's got the cheap ribbon on the $100 cigar. Like, I'll pay $105 for a nicer band at that point, but
I have to tell you, this thing has a great aroma on it too. Real nice,
it does.
earthy, barnyardy kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
I mean, this is classic. Like, this is classic Sumatra from Ernie. I mean, this is
I'm gonna cut mine and let's check out this draw.
All right. So I have a question on you guys as you're cutting. How do you cut your torpedo? You guys do it straight? Do you guys do
Straight,
a little?
yeah.
Always straight.
straight,
I-
but leave some
yeah.
tapering. Leave some tapering.
Yeah, I cut it at an angle
Yeah, I do too.
so that I have more surface area.
Same. Like, when you cut a carrot, you kind of cut on the bias. I do the same thing. So I cut mine at an angle. And also what I find, not only have more surface area, a lot of times it'll help keep the wrapper intact from unraveling, depending on the.
Yeah, they can do that. Now on mine, I have a perfect milkshake draw, and I I expected that. I really didn't expect nothing less.
Mine's
Yep,
tight.
I've got a good draw.
Mine's very tight.
Mine's a little tight.
Yeah.
Well, Ben was gonna have a perfect draw because he's Coop's favorite. So I mean, that was a given.
Right.
Well, then I would have.
It's actually got really good cold draw flavors as well too. I mean,
Nice little
getting-
sweetness coming off of it. Yeah.
yeah, like the natural tobacco sweetness,
Mm-hmm.
a little earthy, a little slightly nutty, but I getting even a little bit of saltiness, too.
I actually was gonna say that there's definitely a saltiness coming off this, but the natural tobacco. It's not one thing I could say is sometimes Sumatra could be overly woody for me, and it's not overly woody, particularly on a cold draw.
Now, before we light this up, I'm curious: has everybody smoked this at least once before this review, or is this somebody's first time?
This is my
First time-
first time.
First time with the Torpedo, but I have
Okay.
smoked this.
This is my second one of the day.
Attaboy.
Yeah.
Which,
I try not to go into these colds, honestly. We've all had we had the show sample, which Was it? It was was it Toro or Robusto we had?
No,
at the
I think
show?
Churchill.
Churchill.
Was it?
Yeah, was it Churchill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but I mean, I had another one of the torpedoes this morning, the pregame. I always like the pregame before, get my
Yeah,
thoughts
boy.
collected.
Yeah.
So this is my second one right here. So
I smoked it yesterday for the first time, so this is my second one.
Yeah.
But you didn't buy a box of these, right, Aaron?
not yet.
I don't want to spoil alert, but I will not buy. I'm not buying it. I did not buy a box of these.
Okay. Well, that doesn't mean, let's see. It doesn't mean anything. But I have smoked this in
Sure
other
it doesn't.
sizes. I've smoked this in the Robusto and the Churchill already.
Yeah.
So
Oh wait, I remember. I smoked. I think that was a Robusto at a shop in Johnson City, Tennessee. That's when I had the Robusto. So I've had it the Robusto as well. So anyway, anybody has anything to add, let's light this sucker up.
While we're doing this, wanted to go ahead and share my lighter before you guys show off the unofficial cigar coupe lighter that I still don't have. I've got a pretty cool lighter from Oliva.
Oh wow.
It's
look
a pen.
how'd you get that?
I have a way about me.
Okay, so it wasn't at the booth. Like
No, it was,
you have a way about you getting a lot of stuff. Talk
think
about
Ben's
favorites on the team.
I represent myself with a certain degree of charm and
I think Ben
wit
still
and
has my Oliva
style.
cutter from the show. I think.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
no.
We got, by the way, guys. Cigar Media, we did get cutters at the Oliva booth too. So they
Ben's
make
got
it worth
mine.
it. They do. They are really good to you at the booth. You may want to go there
or not.
That's
can
right.
keep
or not,
covering
and just let us have the monopoly every year of having a great.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So I guess I should talk to Paul Costo, huh, Bear?
Paul's a good guy. He's always.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel sorry. I only see him like once a year at the show.
Yeah,
But,
miss Paul. Paul's
great
a
guy.
great rep.
Really, really good guy.
He hooks us up at the booth every year. Yes, I did get this from Paul. He was doing an event, Michael's Tobacco Killer. And so I went there and I got a pen lighter. So it's fantastic. Everyone's quiet. It's like a dinner table. Here we go.
Well, the drawer's gotten better than the dry drawer, I can tell you that. So it opened up once now I'm getting the milkshake drawer.
All right, so we're going to talk about first light experience here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Go
So,
for it.
all right. So I get what I'll call it's kind of like a softness to it, right? I mean, there's just a little bit of a hay, a little bit of kind of that cedar, kind of that natural tobacco, but there's a sweetness, kind of softness, sweetness to it that I get from the initial 3-4 puffs. And it's right now, I would say it's probably like mild plus. I don't think it's
Listening,
even
by the way.
medium yet.
Paul's on, by the way.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. He said he got pen lighters for us, so when he comes to Texas.
Hey, Bear, I'll be in Texas second week of January, so I'll keep you posted.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. You're not planning out your trip for next August?
I'll pencil you in for December.
Yeah, I got
year.
penciled in for September.
Like Coop. I'll see you in October of 2027.
Yeah, I got that done.
Times. No, the dry draw was tight for me as well. The aroma coming off the foot was that kind of like we were talking about barnyard. I also got some really dark sweetness too. As I'm drawing through it, they immediately had a much better draw than the dry draw.
Yeah,
So
I had the same thing with that as well.
so that was good.
Can I also comment to what I get as it's transitioning? I get a vanilla. I get like a vanilla sweetness to the beginning of this.
Are you getting it like right at the end of a retro or like right at the end of the finish?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of getting into. It reminds me of the vanilla notes that you get. Ben, this might sound more familiar with you because I know you're a wine guy. Like those nice fruity jammy cabs that have that vanilla aftertaste.
Yeah, or like a heavily oak Chardonnay too.
Yeah,
The oak
not quite as
parts-
buttery though, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's right there at the finish. So it's like a little creamy vanilla.
Mhm.
I get it. I get it, Aaron. I'm with you. I think it's funny that you say that it's mild though. I find it to be medium in body, medium in flavor. I think again we're the illusion of pepper, right? So we're getting that spice off the Nicaraguan tobacco. I'm willing to bet that's fucking Esteli tobacco, by the way.
There's a nice richness to the cigar though.
Yeah.
There's like I would say it's more of a rich natural tobacco. I am getting a little of that woody note from the Sumatra. I'm getting some earth notes. And then I want to say there's some sweetness on top of that natural tobacco. And I hate using this term for a flavor note because I think it's most misused term. It's almost like a raisin note I'm getting. Maybe like a date
You don't,
note. or something.
oh shit, you don't like that though, typically.
I don't because it's too sweet. I'd say this is more of a date note I'm getting. Maybe not a raisin note, but it's in that. It actually is. I'm gonna say this size is starting out very nice for me so far. I kind of am digging what this is doing.
yeah. I mean, I got that date note as well, and I was, and I actually like the raisin notes and date notes in the flavored cigar. Like that's one of the reasons I like a lot of La Flor Dominicana Maduros. It's
They are
because
very
they have that in there, and I really enjoy that rich. To me, it's like a really rich, nicely fermented tobacco flavor. It just has that like the raisiny date kind of quality. But I like how you differentiated them, Coop, because like to me, I eat dates and raisins a lot. Usually, I throw them in my cereal in the morning.
Yeah.
And a date it has a raisiny type of flavors, but it's way less sweet
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
Way less sweet.
That to me, that's like that screams like if we're talking Florida Dominicana, that screams the Colorado Oscuro, man. That cigar is fucking awesome.
Right.
I love it.
That's but sometimes they get that like that raisin which is overwhelming, and it's almost like the cigar is not fermented right. And I see a lot of people they'll smoke Maduros off the truck, and you'll get that, and they're like, to me, it's unfermented tobacco. It's not really raisiny, but they call it raisin.
See, I get it. It's right here with me. One of my favorites, the 660 Double Ajero Maduro. I go through so much of these is ridiculous. It's like I should see a therapist about it. But anyway, that has that flavor in there, and I love that flavor of that.
Yeah.
And I get it pretty heavily in the 660 Maduro. It's really good. But I do get it. I get it here too. And going back to what Errol said about the vanilla, it didn't come to me as vanilla. Like, it was almost like a sweet cream kind of a note to me in the beginning.
Yeah.
But I can see where the vanilla.
Yeah, I can see
I
it.
get that.
Yeah.
Because it does. I do get that, like that hint. I can see where you could get the vanilla. Like, to me, it was like a sweet creaminess about it that when you said vanilla, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I could see that. I can see that. But I do get I still get some earthiness, some woodiness as well too, at the beginning of it.
Yeah.
To me, it's off to a really good start.
I got to say, I think the tapering's doing something with this blend too, where getting a little more tapering on it. I think it made these flavors a little richer than I remember of some of the other sizes.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, you know how I feel about torpedoes traditionally.
Right.
So, so far,
Look, a torpedo could really do good things for a blend or figure out. Yeah. It can sometimes go backfire. And I think user error sometimes plays into that too. But sometimes the blend just doesn't work as well in a torpedo.
I always felt bad about this. Klaus Kellner, he loves the Davidoff Millennium in the torpedo. I think it's the torpedo or the Trumpetta. I can't remember what they've designated as, but it's the same type of cap. And man, I tried so many of those to try and like that try to like it in that Vitola, and I just couldn't do it. But I like
Is
it in
it-
other ones. It's crazy.
Yeah, Ernesto hasn't done a lot of torpedoes lately, though.
The La Creme Bellicose Fino.
Once a year,
I mean,
yeah. I mean, but look at his regular production.
no,
He
I,
hasn't
you just I wasn't.
done-
I wasn't being.
I mean, I guess he's doing it in the Encore, right? The Encore's got it.
Mhm.
So the Encore's got it.
Yeah, Valientes.
Yeah, the Alianzas. But yeah, this is
Los Fumar takes former #1 cigar of the year. Just want to point that out. And I got the size right, where a certain publication did not. But that's neither here nor there.
but this is the size that same publication liked in this blend. So, but it's off to a nice start. This cigar.
Yeah, I think so too. So let's see anybody else has anything to add. Maybe we'll stop it here and we'll come back at the end of the first third. See everybody in a second.
And we're back here at the Smoking Syndicate Roundtable number 10. 4 of us here on the panel, Mr. Will Cooper, Aaron Nielsen, and Ben Lee, and myself, Barry Duplessis, are smoking the Cuba Aliados by Ernesto Perez-Carrillo Jr. in the Torpedo size. And it is a 6x54. And we're just finishing up the first third. So let's go ahead and hear our thoughts. Aaron, you gave me a bunch of shit at the top of the show, so I want to keep coming back to you. Aaron, what are your thoughts?
Yep. So I think from a body standpoint, it's up a tick. So I'd say it's a solid medium right now. My burn, I just had to ash, but my burn line great. Ash held on. It's for me, a relatively slow smoker. This is not something that, is burning real quickly. Flavors for me, relatively unchanged in this first third from that first little bit. I think the woodiness or kind of the cedar is up a tick. I still get some of that like creamy, we were talking about the creamy vanilla. I got the hay. And there's a little bit of what I'll call like a baker spice to it. I mean, it's not prominent, but I get a little bit of that baker spice in combination with it. So I think so far, I'm really enjoying this cigar. I think that from a initial standpoint, it's smoking very well. Yeah, so that's what I got so far.
Coop, let's hear what you got.
I agree with a lot what Aaron said. First of all, look at that burn line. That's amazing.
Mine too. Yeah, it's still holding pretty strong.
I'm getting that natural tobacco. I'm getting those wood notes up in the front. The date sweetness is dialed back slightly. So it's definitely dialed back a bit. There's definitely some hay I'm getting in the I'm getting some of those hay notes that Aaron mentioned as well. The retro hails give me, it's interesting. The retro hails kind of not dull, not boring, but dull it's not very sharp is what I'm saying. But I'm getting some cedar notes on that with a little bit of that date sweetness mixed in there. Medium strength, medium body, draws fantastic on this thing. Like I said, I've smoked other sizes of this. This is the best start I've had to this, is what I'll say. And that creamy, a little bit of that creamy, nutty note too. Particularly on the finish, I get that.
Is the finish short, medium, or long for you guys, you and Aaron?
For me, I would go medium. It's not
Medium.
short. It's about a medium finish. I mean, it doesn't linger forever, but it's definitely not short. I'll say it's about a medium finish. And I'll echo too what Coop said. I had a note written down. There is a little bit of that nuttiness too, like a cashew.
Mm-hmm.
Ben?
Yeah. I'm kind of what we've already said. I mean, to me, like one of the most prominent thing is coming the vanilla sweet cream I'm getting. Cedar notes, just a hint of earthiness. I get the date note still that Coop was talking about, but I agree with him. To me, it's more subdued now. It's more in the background, but I still detect it. I get a little bit of like the hint of the baker spice that Aaron was talking about, the generic term we use for that. I get that still, and a little bit of nuttiness as well. To me, the nuttiness almost came off to me almost walnut-like to me, but I could,
a little drier.
Yeah, a little bit. The retro hail is what's interesting to me because what I get is totally different what Coop's getting. To me, I get a little bit of white pepper and a slight floralness about it as well on the retrohale, and a little hint of sweetness, I guess. But to me, it's like white pepper and slightly floral, which I thought was really interesting because I don't really get that on the cigar itself as much as I do on the retrohale. It's really unique to me. But I don't know, just kind of different.
Yep.
A lot of complexity, huh, Ben? Sounds like.
I do. I do think it's slightly complex, and I agree. To me, it's medium bodied, medium flavor, and to me, I get a little bit of a longer finish than medium. I wouldn't say medium, but I wouldn't say long either. It's just kind of like in that gray area between. Because when I take a good puff on this thing, I could taste it for quite a while. So which is awesome for me because I like long finish. The longer, the better. Lay on my palate as long as possible. So I'm really enjoying that part.
Just not Liga Privado late, white, where you taste it the next morning.
No, I don't want to taste it for lunch the next day. Nothing like that. But at least for maybe a minute or so, that would be really good. To me, it's a really long finish. That's a super long finish.
Yeah.
So, but it's not like that. It's there for like maybe 20 seconds still. Good 20, 30 seconds. But what do you get? Well, how was the first third for you, Bear?
I kind of aligned with a lot of you guys. I find this cigar to be incredibly complex. When I put the cigar in my mouth before I even draw back any smoke into it, I get really, really pronounced leather, man. It's this really nice leather note to it. It's like chewing on a baseball glove. Really brings me back to my childhood. When I draw back the smoke into my palate, I'm immediately hit with that pepper spice that we were talking about. That's the Nicaraguan tobacco that's in the blend. And then my mouth is then balanced out with a really delightful sweetness, breadiness. I'm going to go ahead and call it, guys. It's a cinnamon swirl pancake flavor note for me. I'm not kidding. That's what I'm getting. So you're getting that cinnamon, getting that sweetness from that, from that pancake. No eggs, Coop, so don't worry. My breakfast is unspoiled by eggs.
Okay.
Coming out of the cigar. The retrohale, insanely again, adding another complex note to it. I get that floral note too. It's that floral vanilla, Ben. That's what I'm getting. I'm getting that floral vanilla sweet cream right there on the finish. Like you, mine's somewhere in between medium and long. It's about a 20 to 30 second red flavor still lingering on the palate with the finish. This first third catching me off guard, man. I wasn't expecting it. Like I said, this cigar may be ugly looking, man, but I keep going back to how ugly looking it is. I don't care how ugly it looks when it tastes and has this much complexity. I'm enjoying it, and that's really what matters. The bands are pretty, so like I think it takes away from like the ugliness of the wrapper a little bit, or maybe it makes it stand out more. I'm not sure which camp I'm in yet. The wrapper's ugly. I'll just say it. But
Yeah,
that's my experience.
Off to a pretty good start, even with the talk of the liquid chicken out of a unihole again. It's I think it's off to a good start. So we'll go ahead and finish the second third. We'll be back in a second. See you then.
And welcome back once again to the roundtable number 10 here for the Smoking Syndicate. I'm Bear Duplessis alongside Ben Lee, Aaron Nielsen, and Will Cooper. We're smoking the Cuba Aliados by Ernesto Perez-Carrillo Jr. By Oliva Cigar Company. And we are smoking the Torpedo size 6x54 out of the Tabacalera La Alianza factory. Blended by Ernesto Perez-Carrillo Jr., as I mentioned. We're wrapping up the second third. We're about to peel off the label. But before we get into our impressions, I'm going to go to you, Coop, because there was something you wanted to mention about the label, and then you can tell us your thoughts about the second third. What is missing from this gorgeous redo of this historic brand?
Well, and I think they might have done it on purpose, but the name Oliva is not on here. So I think I get that they wanted to highlight Ernesto, and they wanted to highlight the Cuba Aliados brand, but most people probably don't know this is an Oliva cigar.
The brown and gold, though, if you want to look, the brown
and gold. Yeah, I guess the brown and gold, you could say that. Yeah, but that's a good point. Yeah, I was trying to remember what I said, but yeah, it was definitely missing. Even if I put a little Oliva on the back in small letters, I would have did it. Just to kind of say that this is part of, because I do think this is going to be a very strategic brand for them over the next few years, for sure. So
Yeah, well, it's like the coloration though. Like we said, like the original Cuba Aliados band was brown and ivory colored. So
yeah,
it's
It-
close.
yep. But I'll say this: I'm getting there's like a triple-headed thread I'm getting here of natural tobacco, some earthy notes, and I'm definitely getting some wood notes. It's what I like about it's not becoming very woody, overly woody. There's some cedar mix in there. I'm still getting the hay notes. The creamy notes haven't subsided yet, and I'm getting close to the midway point. What I will say, Ben, is now on the retrohale, I'm getting the white pepper. So I don't know if you kind of implanted that in me, or if now I'm getting it, but I'm definitely starting to get some of the white pepper on here. Great burn, great draw. Medium strength, medium body. I'll say this again. I think this size has been performing the best that I've had in the lineup until this point.
Ben, what about you?
Yeah, I get pretty much the same thing. Like the creamy note is still there.
It's still there,
not-
yeah.
Yeah, to me though, the vanilla part of it is kind of faded away. Like it's sweet, creamy. I get the little bit of leather. I'm still getting a lot of wood, like a lot of the cedar note is still there. A little hint of black pepper, but it's kind of in the background. I'm kind of getting almost like a coffee bean note, slight coffee bean note on there as well. And when I do retrohale the cigar, it's still a lot of white pepper.
Yeah.
To me. And it's not so much of, like I said last time, it was white pepper floral with a hint of creaminess. Now it's like white pepper creaminess with a hint of floral. It's like flip-flopped a little bit, but still white pepper is dominant on there. It's to me, the finish is a little bit less than it was before. Now it's like a straight medium finish now, not as long as it was. But still, I'm really digging it. I'll be honest. It's really good.
I am too. I am too. And I'll say this: there's something that's still imparting a sweetness on this cigar. I don't know if it's that residual date note, but there's if it's coming from the natural tobacco, but there is some sweetness on this cigar, and it's enough to keep me interested in this right now. I think that if that sweetness wasn't there, I don't know if I'd feel the same way about it, but there's something, there's an underlying sweetness to this cigar, but it's subtle. It's not overpowering.
I agree with that because I still get a little bit of that date note too.
Yeah, maybe it's the date note still, but it's subtle enough. And I don't like an overly sweet cigar. That's why I'm really digging this.
Yeah, to me, if it didn't have that sweet note, to me, the woodiness would be overpowering.
Yep.
I know. So I think that sweet flavor of like the date note, or kind of raw natural tobacco sweetness too, helps balance this cigar out really well. But still, to me, it's pretty complex still. So, Aaron, what are you getting on the second third?
Yeah, still medium body, medium, not a strength bomb or anything like that. Burns great. I just took off the band. I was getting ready to smoke into it. I echo the vanilla is gone. There is still that light sweetness. I have a lot of the kind of still the hay. I'm getting like a mineral note now. There's some mineralness to it as part. It's not that sometimes when you talk about mineral, almost you get that like burnt coffee or that twang a little bit. It's not there yet, but it's a little bit of that like mineral. I agree. The woodiness, a little bit of that cedar. I agree with you, Coop, and I think you said it too, Ben. There's enough sweetness where the wood is not so prominent that you can't taste anything else. And Bear, going back off of what you talked about, there is some complexity to this cigar. This is another one. I think we talked about it when we did the fine and rare. This is one that you got to pay a little bit of attention to. Not in the sense you got to double puff it and it's going to go out. I mean, it's burning great. I mean, it's a slow burn for me. It's keeping my attention. But if you want to pick out some of the subtleties, you've got to pay a little bit of attention to it because it has got some complexity to it. The last thing I'll say too is I get that pepper, the white pepper too, but I get a little bit on my tongue. A little bit of like it's not pop rocks-ish, but you get through that. It's a smoother retro, but you do get a little bit of like that sharpness to it.
That tingle.
The tingle, exactly. It's not pop rocky to where it's like so much like in your mouth, but it's a little bit of that tingle. So, right now, what I'm going to be interested to see in this last third is if that sweetness dies down and it goes away. Does this become muddled and kind of just that woody core, and that's what we're left with. So so far kept my attention and burning great.
Yeah,
Or
talk-
do we get the do we get the crescendo flavor?
Yeah. good cookie crescendo.
Go ahead, Ben. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
We'll find it. It was go back to the minerality you were talking about, Aaron. So I'm kind of going to take this back to the wine analogy we used earlier to me, because I got the minerality a lot on the one I had this morning. This one doesn't seem to have it as much, but I do get, and the way I describe it is like slatey, like slate, like yeah, because you get that's like that's a terroir thing of a lot of old world wines, and mostly in France, right? You get a good minerality to it. They call it like slatey, right? And I totally get that. I get that it's kind of hard to explain that note, to be totally honest.
Not like clay. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's clay. And the other thing to mention too, there's a little bit of a dryness to it, like a dryness in your mouth, or just certain cigars will make your mouth water. This one's got a little more dry characteristics to it.
Mm-hmm. You still think it's medium bodied, medium flavor?
Yeah, I would still, I don't think it definitely hasn't gone down. I'd still say it's in that medium range. I mean, if anything else, it's maybe even gone up a tick, but it's not full body. It's in that medium range.
Yeah, I agree with that. What about your finish? What do you think? Has it changed any, or still the same?
I think it's gotten a little longer. I mean, it's not a long finish, but I can still, between, depending on how quickly I'm drawing on it, it's definitely more on the medium plus length size. I mean, so the still kind of lingers on my palate as I go to my next draw. It's not something that is fleeting.
Yep, same as me. Bear, what are you getting on the second, third?
Well, the finish has gotten considerably longer for me. Like, I just took an extra exhale after I'd exhaled, and it's still there. It's still there right now as I'm talking. I puffed probably like 30 seconds ago. It's coming up probably on a minute. It's still there. I can still feel it in my nose. The complexity is certainly taking a downturn for me on the second, third. I'm getting a little bit more of that cedar note that you guys are talking about. It's a little bit more prominent for me. The sweetness isn't as it doesn't stand out as much. It's fading, it's fleeting a little bit. So the complexity is kind of becoming more ironed out for me in the second, third. It's still a very consistent flavoring cigar, still medium bodied. The pepper note that's still lingering on my nose as I'm speaking, it's still there, so it's still really long for me. Is probably making it feel like it's a little bit more amped than it is. I'm getting a little bit of citrus peel in that initial pull when I take a puff right now. Right on the palate there's some like orange peel. And it brightens it up a little bit, but the complexity is dying down to where it becomes, I'm really getting a lot more leather, a lot more earth. That's really just taking over the palate considerably, along with that cedar. So it's becoming a less enthusiastic myriad of flavors, I would say. If I could be a little slightly poetic with it, if you'll give me the license to. But it's still a good smoking experience so far. I don't think, Coop, that we are going to experience a crescendo of flavor.
No, and I'll give you an update. Actually, I have just started to hit, as you guys are talking, I'm just starting to hit that cedarous piece starting to emerge. It's a little bit alarming to me. I hope it doesn't go overboard. That's what I'm going to say. Because sometimes when they take these cedar turns, I tend to really, it doesn't mesh well with me.
Well, I think, Coop, too, on that note, I think we've all talked about it. I think the sweetness has balanced out it from going too woody or too cedary.
Yeah.
I think if it loses that sweetness component to it, it's going to go earthy and woody.
Yeah, and it's going to be very off balance at that point.
Yeah, because to me that cedar note, I got it in the beginning, but it's definitely much stronger in the second, third, that cedar note. And going back to what Bear said too about that orange peel, that I can see, I didn't really get like a distinct orange peel, but it's almost like an acidity slight to it, kind of to it. So I totally get that. But anyway, I think we've covered the second, third, so we'll go ahead and pause it here. And we'll be back to let you know how it is at the conclusion of the cigar in a second. See you then.
And we're back again here with the roundtable number 10, smoking the Cuba Aliados by Ernesto Perez-Carrillo Jr. From Oliva Cigar Company. The roundtable number 10 is paneled by myself, Bear Duplessis, alongside Will Cooper, Ben Lee, and Aaron Nielsen. We're wrapping up. This is the final third. So we're going to be doing our final third notes, and then we'll be doing our scoring as well. Keep in mind, these are opinions of these opinions are ourselves. And if you disagree with them, that's certainly your prerogative, but we don't care. These are our feelings about the cigar, and we're eager to share them with you. We hope you've enjoyed this journey as we've gone through this cigar, and we will we'll go ahead and wrap up the cigar right now. So why don't we went with I think I went from Aaron and we did Coop. So Ben, why don't you lead off the final third here and tell us your final thoughts?
Yeah, so I'm smoking it down pretty good now. To me, it's gotten almost monotone. I'm getting a lot of cedar and almost no creaminess, no sweetness. They're there, but it's just a faint hint of both the creaminess and the sweetness. Mostly, it's just a lot of woodiness, and it's white pepper and a hint of leather, slightly earthy, but that's about it, honestly. My finish is about the same. I'd still say it's medium body, medium flavor. Retrohale is a lot of white pepper and wood now. That's pretty much it. I don't get any of the sweetness or creaminess hardly anymore at all. It's really it went from really complex to hardly complex at all now, like real kind of linear. I was kind of a little bit disappointed, honestly, in this last third. I was expecting a little bit more. I kind of knew where it was going to go because, like I said, this is my first one, but this one was smoking a lot better than the one I had this morning. We talked about this, on the Facebook feed over the YouTube one here, but there was no crescendo, none at all. So I'm a little bit disappointed in the last third, but overall, I thought the cigar was really good. I really love that first third. My favorite. Second was a pretty good. The final third, I thought it's just kind of average, to use Aaron's term. So that's about it on the last third. So Will, what did you get on the final third?
Hey, real quick, what you get ranking, or would you rate it?
Are we going to do that right now too?
Do we want to do the thoughts and then the rankings?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Coop, give us your assessment of the final third.
Ben nailed every point. I think this was no crescendo flavors. It was disappointing. It was monotone. It was very cedary at the end. The sweetness was kind of gone. The pepper kind of increased on the tongue. It got a little muddled. It did the things I didn't want it to do. Ben kind of nailed this though. First third, spectacular. Second third, very good. Third one, barely average. But great burn, great draw. Got really good scores on that. It was very well balanced until the final third as well. And it was a decent amount of complexity on this cigar until the final third. But very satisfying, this cigar. I'm kind of struggling with the final score on this one still, but very good.
Cool.
Aaron, what about you? Sorry, Ben.
I'm gonna echo again. I think we're all in agreement with kind of where we've ended up with this final third. For me, it is more that mineral. I got a lot more of that mineral. The sweetness died down, which we kind of talked about that with the sweetness dying down, that wood was going to take over. So it's kind of that woody cedar hay, a lot of the mineral. You guys use the term muddled. That's kind of where it just kind of became monotone, right? Nothing to write home about, just kind of died off. My finish, from a construction standpoint, I mean, it was a long smoke. I mean, so for me, for this size of a cigar, well over an hour, it burned well. I think my favorite was that kind of transition from that first third into that second third. So right after that first third, I thought that was the best part of the cigar. Didn't get the pepper, even to me, kind of, it slightly died down, but it was there, but kind of still just kind of the white pepper wasn't like overbearing or anything like that. So I'm two with Coop a little bit. I'm struggling with where I'm going to kind of rate this, but overall, like the complexities, like the sweetness, really like that the kind of that vanilla note that came out primarily for the first say 2/3 of it. So yeah, I think we're all in pretty much agreement what we got on that last third. No crescendo.
Yeah, the crescendo was about the point you said, the end of the first third. Yep.
Agreed.
Yep.
All right, Bear, what did you think of the final third and overall impressions?
I'm still smoking the final third because I'm expecting something else to happen, and it's just not happening. It took a complete dive from the second third. And kind of just echoing a lot of the things that you guys are saying. It's just a really heavy woody and earth. That's all I'm getting. The leather taste from the wrapper is still there, but it's muted. The finish went from super long in that second third, went from medium plus in that first third to extremely long in the second third to now extremely short. It's like not even there anymore. It's so bizarre. My old friend, the bitterness is just here. It's just here and it's not going anywhere. It's just here lingering on my palate. It sucks. But cigars tend to end this way. I find that bitterness in cigars is, really pronounced when you have torpedoes. I just feel like it gets really bitter towards the end. And if you don't smoke it slow enough, if you smoke it fast, it's even worse.
Yep.
I don't think we smoked this fast. I think it was a really nice speed that we smoked through the cigar. And it's but the bitterness is there just the same. And the second third definitely did not deliver a crescendo for me. In fact, it went really downhill. I agree the crescendo was in the first third. That was one of the most complex thirds I think we've smoked on a round table. And I was high on a couple of the cigars we've done, like the Careñas from St. Louis Rey. I thought was incredibly complex. But I think the first third even rivaled some of the best parts of that cigar, and I think that was one of my favorites that we've done on the round table. If I could do without the last third, I might just put these cigars down after the second third and just call it a day and enjoy it for what it is there. It'll be a completely different score if I just smoke the first 2/3, which we'll get into right now.
Yeah. You're go ahead talking now. So what would you score it?
Yeah, so again, the first third was definitely the highlight for me. I think it started out, it was completely surprising. It was blown away by the complexity. It was just absolutely delightful. If we could end the cigar right there, it would have been a really extraordinarily high score. The second third brought it down a few points, a couple points for me, but still a very solid cigar. Like I said, I would enjoy it from there. The last third has really just made this it's just a disappointing finish. There's no other way to say it. That being said, I will smoke this again just because I'd like to see if I have a similar experience. Maybe I can smoke it even slower and get a different experience out of the last third. Maybe not trying to be an apologist or anything, but I'm eager to find out if the smoking speed has anything to do with it, particularly with my findings when it comes to smoking Torpedo cigars. So that all being said, this cigar is an 88 for me. A low 88. It was really hard I was fluctuating back between 87 and 88. I really don't want to discount that first third. That first third was phenomenal. It was 90 plus.
Do you weigh the equal thirds equally in your score?
Yes.
Yeah, I do too. And some people say that's not totally fair, but I think it is.
How is it not fair?
Well, because you don't technically smoke it to you don't smoke through that whole final third. I think it's fair. Don't get me wrong.
It's fair. We're not.
Yeah, I think it's fair.
Okay, Coop. What do you give the final score?
It's interesting. I give it an 89. If that final third would have held on, this would have been hit the 90 point. It just kind of lost it in that last third. What I will say is this was the best performing size I've had of this line by far. And I'll be honest, the Churchill size was flat and it ended a lot like this. So I am very impressed with the Bellicosa. We're not padding scores here, guys. 89 is a solid score. I'd buy it and smoke it. I'd probably buy multiples of these and keep them in the humidor. I would smoke this again. I wouldn't hesitate. And like Bear said, I'd maybe experiment a little with the smoking of the rate, how fast you're smoking it. But I think the Torpedo is the way to go with this. I really do. I'll say this, I think Aficionado had this as the highest one, and I'm not sure how they score, but it came at 89, which is a very, very
Well,
good score.
If they,
An above
if they're
average score.
judging it on the first third, I could see why it gets.
I
something
could
so
see,
high.
and we've
That
talked a lot
first third
about
was
that.
insanely complex. That was fucking
It was-
awesome, man.
But the Churchill didn't do that, and the Robusto didn't do that for me.
Mm-mm.
So this one did it, which I was like, wow, this is very different. And I just thought the flavors were very rich in that first third as well. I thought the cigar took the turn a little past the halfway point. So I thought even the second third was performing quite well. But towards the end of that, remember I said it was starting to turn with the cedar because I went first and I just started to get that. And it unfortunately, like I said, when the sweetness went away, the balance went off on this cigar. And but 89, I'll buy it again.
Yeah, I want to.
I'd buy one.
I wouldn't age this too long. I maybe want to see what this does in a year.
I would not age this one too long either. Smoke this one now.
Aaron, what about you? What do you score it?
Yeah. So with the nosedive it took in the final third, I will say, because as I mentioned before, this is the second time I had this cigar. The second time was far more enjoyable for me than the first time that I smoked this. If we talk about, and I was going to mention it, and so I'll echo what you guys said. I mean, if Aficionado does truly only smoke, say, the first third of a cigar and then rakes it, I could see where they're going to give really high ratings to this. But it just progressively, I don't say got worse, but it definitely, from a rating standpoint, continued on that descent. I'm going to go exactly with what Bear said. I was going to go 88. I was actually teetering between 88, 89. I would buy this a 5-pack. I mean, this is not box worthy for me, but it's a good cigar. I agree. Don't age this forever. I think it's just in terms of the flavor components, the way that typically a cigar will age. I don't think that by aging this a couple of years or whatever you're going to age it for is going to do it any favors. Would I recommend this cigar to somebody? I would definitely say try this. Pay attention to it because there is some unbelievable complexities. And the high note for me, as I talked about, was in that first third into that second third. I mean, I was a huge fan of that creaminess and that vanilla. I mean, that thing had me. I mean, that was really, really good. But unfortunately, it just doesn't, like most cigars, it just didn't hold it, and it just continued on the downward spiral. So I'll go 88, and yeah,
Still a solid score.
yeah.
288s and 89. Where are you going to land, Ben?
Yeah, so I do what y'all do. I kind of rate each third, right? So for me, if I was to rate this each third, first third would be probably a 93. The second third would probably be a 91. The final third to me would be like an 85. So
Shit.
Yeah, it was a big drop off.
It was a drop.
This was heading to 90 until that final third for me. Yeah.
It basically, and I'm still smoking it while we're talking, and it's just getting more and more and more of a woody bomb. I'm pretty much getting only cedar at this point, only cedar. And while I love the smell of cedar and all that, I don't want to taste it, right?
I agree. It's,
it's just too much. The sweetness that we talked about really balanced out that woodiness, and it was just really meshing so well. All these flavors were meshing so well in the first and the second third, and we saw that it was tapering off in the second third, and it's basically that transition on the second and the end of the second third and the beginning of the first third was kind of what I got out of the Churchill and Robusto. Like I did not like the Churchill or the Robusto. To me, they weren't even worthy enough to return to.
Agree. That was my experience with it too.
Yeah. To me, this one is like, go try it. It's 5-pack worthy. To me, it's not box worthy at all. Okay, so to me, I would, if I average all that, I would give this an 89, because really the first and second third were really, really good, but the last third is just not good. It's terrible. It's just terrible.
Yeah.
So it lost all its balance and complexity in this last third to where it just really pulled that score down. I'm with you, Coop. It would have been in the 90s if it would just
I thought, yeah,
maintain, you know.
yeah, I thought for sure. But you know, I've heard this cigar maligned from a lot of people. Take the CA rating. I've heard this cigar, people were not impressed with it, but I don't know anyone who smoked the Torpedo. I think everyone I know smoked other sides of that cigar. And I'm going to say, I would give the Torpedo a shot with this one and see.
Yeah,
The first 2/3, you're going to get a great cigar. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's really, the first third is so complex and so well balanced. It was really a stunning revelation when I tried it the second time. Like I said, I had it this morning, and I didn't really get none of this this morning. It was almost a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of a cigar. It's kind of weird, to be totally honest.
Yeah.
But for me, the only thing I would say is I disagree with you a little bit about the aging. And this is why, because my gut says it probably won't age well. But I just kind of go back to when Ernesto came out with the original line. His first EPC was inaugural 2009. Now, when that came out, I did not like that cigar. I thought it was flat, monotone, a lot of wood. That's all I got. Now, so a lot of people got that at my shop in Biloxi, the cigar shop, right? So that box sat there for a long time. And it wasn't until one of the guys worked there, his name was Mike Mando, he tried it and said, wow, this thing has gotten so much better. I'm like, what? Get the hell out of here, really? And I smoked it, and it was really good. And that box is probably 2 years old at this point. And it was really freaking good, the inaugural 2009, and I did not like it at all. Like, I wasn't even going to go buy another single to try it out, right? But
a lot of us had that action with that inaugural. I remember that. Yeah.
So to me, we got one. We all got three. Coop bought all of us three. I have one left, and I'm going to sit it, and I'm going to see what happens. I'm probably going to sit it for about 2 years, and I'm going to see what happens because I'm kind of curious. Because I'm with y'all, and my gut instinct is this is not going to age well, but then my experience with the 2009 says it's possible that it might age really well. So I'm gonna fool with it. I'm gonna see what it's like. I'm gonna set this down a while and see what happens. Not that it will return to it, because I think this is a one and done cigar. This is
put it with your Opus and not your Padrones, because you lose your Patrons and you don't lose your Opus.
100%. Do not age Padrones. That's your PSA for the night. Do not age Padrones.
Nope.
From now.
Especially 64s.
One of the things that we mentioned about, and Coop mentioned it, not having the Oliva name on the band. One of the things that you can tell, at least I could, you can taste the Oliva tobacco in this cigar. I mean, you can absolutely taste the Oliva tobacco when you talk about some of the other lines, and that it's taking out the V. But if you take the O or the G, or maybe even the Connecticut, you can taste some of that Oliva tobacco in this. So if you're an Oliva fan, I think you'll like the cigar, at least for the first 2/3 of it.
I'm glad you actually brought that up too, about the Reserve Connecticut from Oliva. That one is another line, and I love Connecticut's. That one I don't like. I do not like the Reserve Connecticut. But back in the day, long time ago, our Oliva rep he's now covers South Florida, mostly Tampa. But I remember one day he was like Coop with me, like, oh dude, you got to try the Double Toro, which is their 6x60. I'm like, dude, I am not trying a 6x60. I don't have no desire to smoke it, because one, I don't like the blend. Two, I hate a 6x60. Why would I ever do it? And we're at an Oliva event, and he kept on and on and on to me. I'm like, I was like, fuck, okay, if you shut up, I'll go get one. And let me tell you, 6x60, that cigar, that line is freaking phenomenal. It's so more complex and creamy and just a sweeter profile than all the rest of them. It was like it's almost like I was smoking a wholly different blend in that. And I feel that's like what this cigar is like, because this Torpedo is so much better than the Robusto or the Churchill. It's not even funny. It's crazy. We all talk about there's a sweet spot usually in every, cigar line. There's always one Vitola that kind of stands out. but the vast difference between these Vitolas is unbelievable. The Torpedo is definitely the way to go. So if anybody's watching this and you want to try one, get the Torpedo. Try that one. That's the one. Because the other ones, they're not good. I don't think they're good at all. Coop, I think you think the same way too.
Yeah, I
Right?
agree. I agree. Like when we did this, I was like, this could have been ugly, is what I'm saying. I'll be honest.
Yeah, honestly, I expected to hammer this cigar.
Me too.
Like bad.
I did too. I did too.
I was going to do the same thing after when I had it yesterday. I'm like, when I text you guys, it's going to be very interesting to see where everybody scores this. And I was pleasantly surprised the second time around on this. So you never know, right? You got to give it at least a couple tries.
So 288s and 289s, huh?
Not bad. It didn't do
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, I think we covered it pretty well. So, like we always say, if you have any suggestions of stuff you want us to try on the roundtable, put them in the comments on the Facebook feed or on our YouTube, and let us know. Is this something you want us to do a review? So on that note, please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.